Hi guys, it's Stacy and welcome to my channel. Today I'm back for Saturday Morning Makes. Hi Jill, and for Snowmen in January 2025. Hi Nancy. These are open collaborations that are available to anyone. I'm going to go ahead and link the information down below. It's a hashtag driven collaboration. Use it to search, participate. I'm going to leave all the info down below with the links to Nancy and Jill's channels down below. And we're going to get started. Today I have multiple projects for you. So if you stick around, there's a card at the very end that I did not put into the intro sharing with you. So there's a little extra at the end. And I used some Sweet November stamps, these little dancing snowmen. I love them. I got them in a D-stash from Tina, Crafty Bean. Hi Tina, if you're watching. And I just love them. And some of these, we've got action wobblers, shakers. I included a few projects in here, and I actually think I had a couple more that I forgot to put in here. But right here, I'm doing some real-time coloring for you. And it's only going to last a minute or so, and then I'm going to speed it up. But as I've said in other videos, I like to map out where I'm going to start my darkest shadows with my lightest marker or my mid-tone marker. It just helps me visually to lay it out. It lets me get the feel of the markers before I go in with that heavy-duty color. And I typically like to work from darkest to lightest. Depending on your markers, what brand you use, how juicy your markers are, your nibs. One nib from a Copic to the next sometimes can have a little bit of a different flow. Not much, but it just depends on the marker. So I like to go in so that I can get the feel of them. And I always start out slower when I first start coloring. And as I continue to color an image, my speed speeds up, but not that much. And I'm just going to show you guys the first set of colorings for these snowmen. I did them in these BG, the blue greens. I did them in the blue violets, and I did them in a few of the R markers, like the pinky corally colors. If you would prefer me to keep the coloring in and maybe slow down part of it, maybe color one image and then speed it up, let me know. If I was to keep all the footage of all these snowmen in here and everything that I did, there was like 7-8 hours of footage. It's just too much. So to condense it down to try to make it watchable for you guys, and leave as much in as that I can, I have to speed it up. So if you'd like me to conclude more real-time coloring, more real-time ink blending, whatever it is that you're interested in, let me know. Like I said, this whole doing the full process videos is new to me, so I'd like to follow what I enjoy doing, but also make it to where you enjoy watching the content and put out some info of the things that you like. So give me some feedback. Here's all the different little snowmen that I colored. And like I said, I used the 3 different color waves. On the scarves that are a little bit darker in the those reds, I think I brought in an RB marker, but I just went to the next level of colors. The same with the scarves. I went to the next, I removed the lowest color, the less saturated color, and then went to a more saturated color in the same color family. These dyes my husband bought me actually for Christmas one year from Amazon, and I think they're KS Craft. And you can do just plain tags with them. I made shaker tags with them. You can use the insides, the outsides, however you want, and all those little hearts that get cut out. Oh, they're so much fun. Like, I use them in a project in here. And I also use those same dies to cut some acetate from the Valentine's Michaels paper pads this year. And I'm going to show you how I was able to make it work for these tags. See the rippled edge, like the scalloped edge with the hearts? Now, for one, I could have put a probably your detailed cutting plate. I did put a metal shim in my big shot, and it still wouldn't go through it, and I kept going through it. I put brand new plates on it. It wouldn't go through it. I know probably if I'd stuck it in my Gemini, it probably would have went right through it. So since this acetate has colors on it that color into those openings, the hearts, I didn't like that. So I'm going around and I'm trimming off the excess, and I had to trim off enough just past the hearts, which leaves just enough to put your foam tape. And I'm going to show a couple different ways that I made these shaker tags, I believe. So that's what I did there. I just trimmed off the excess. And because I didn't have double-sided sticky tape that was narrow enough, I end up using liquid glue, and I'll show you that. So this, I believe, is in real time, and then I'm going to speed up the process. I just really wanted you to see that I had to trim around the edges, and so that line work didn't show through. So strange watching it in real time when most of the video is sped up. See, now it's sped up. And I'm taking one of the frames and I'm getting out a large acrylic block so that I can weight it down, especially with the liquid glue, because it's going to take a while to dry because of that acetate. So it needed to be weighed down. And that one you have to make sure, because there's words on it, that you have that acetate facing the proper way. So if you do that. Now here, because I was adding the backers so that the images on the acetate show up, I'm putting a white background inside that tag. I used some paper clips to hold down the frame just to line it up so that I made sure that I got that center portion placed properly. So there wasn't, once I put the frame on, when I do the shaker, it doesn't show, or it's not shifted showing the background color, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink blend, and I'm loving this heart stencil for Valentine's Day. You're going to see, look, I didn't put the frame down because I'm not making this one into a shaker. I don't think it's necessary, but I just wanted to show you that tip with the other, because I don't want my background to show through the edges of it. Now this is which I thought I had shown, it's an MFT die, and it's the Donut Love, or Don't You Know I Love You. It's a donut stamp set, and this was a die set they had for it years ago, and I think that they recently brought this back into their store. And I'm just ink blending with some Distress inks, and I'm using my Hero Arts blending brushes. Use what you have. Use your sponges, use whatever. Now, in my last video, I said I preferred the sponges, but I didn't specify. I prefer the sponges when I use the oxide inks, because the brushes, to me, kind of clump up. And I prefer the brushes because I can get a much lighter blend with dye-based inks, whether it's Distress inks or any other dye-based inks. And these little blending brushes I got from Amazon, they're great. They're great for details, or if you want to, ink blend through a stencil that has multiple small images, and so you want to do different colors. So what I did was I went around where the frosting dips in, and I put the darker ink in there so that it had some depth. And then I'm heat embossing this image on vellum. And I'm fiddling with this. I'm really trying to figure out where I want that sentiment to go. And I realized, boy, that cute little donut and cake background and cookie background paper gets covered up, but that's fine. I had to take these thin foam strip, and that I got from Amazon. They're kind of like the Darcy's ones. And I had to cut them in half because there wasn't much of a border. So what I would suggest doing is die cutting that frame over and over and over, which I did on a different one, and I'm not sure if I included that in the video. And then I took liquid glue and put it on there so that I could adjust it, because if I just went in with the foam tape, it would have stuck and I couldn't have moved it. The liquid glue on top of it gives a little bit more playtime with it. And also, when it being that thin, my fingers touched that foam tape a lot, and so it lost some of the stickiness in certain areas, so I was worried about it pulling apart since it is a shaker. And so I lined all that up, glued the snowman, glued the donuts together, and then put foam tape on to add it onto that shaker. And all those little shaker bits, the first things I put in there were all those little hearts that I got from when I cut them out and all the different colorways that I did, and use those as shaker bits. And then I also use polymer clay hearts from Michaels and some sequins from Michaels and the little glitter pieces too. And then that was a paper smooches set that I brought in that had "You Swept Me Off My Feet" or something like that. And I thought it was cute. And I used Distress Oxide ink. You can heat emboss with that. And then I put clear Poly Sparkle embossing powder over it and heat emboss that. And that's a little wobbler. All the projects will be shown in real time at the end. And then I'm doing a slimline card here, and I used a Heavy Doodle slimline die set to do the background there. That is some press and seal, so I laid my images out, decided what I liked, the layout, and I should have given them more time to dry when I put the glue down. You'll see I kind of struggle with it, but it worked, guys. If you take the time, let it dry before you pull that press and seal up, it's a great way to lay your card out, pick up your images, and put them back down exactly where you had them, or take a picture with your phone or your camera, whatever you have to refer back to later. And with the vellum, I just put the glue behind the snowflakes and the heat embossing so that the glue didn't show through. Pulled out some old school Studio G that I've had forever, gemstones, and placed those around so it had some shimmer. Now this is, I believe, either from the dollar store or Hobby Lobby, and it's that fake snow, but it's like iridescent. So I'm taking some glossy accents so that it dries even more, with the glossy in the background, and I'm going to add that. And I thought it just made like, so it had something like they were standing on. They weren't just floating there in the middle of the card. And it's so pretty. It's really pretty in real life. And it's probably very similar to what Tim Holtz sells in his little jars. And I paid $1. Now I'm showing you that you can make a shaped card out of these, and I cut and scored that cardstock, and as you can see, I didn't do a very good job. It's crooked. It doesn't matter because I'm going to cut it in the shape. I'm taking that die, I'm hanging it off the edge of where I scored and folded the card so that it doesn't cut that area up top. And then I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine, and there it is. I believe I open it up and show you. And if I don't here, I show it at the end. Nope, I must have cut it out, guys. Here I'm going to put an action wobbler, but I'm doing it with 2 images. So I'm gluing them together, trying to make sure I have enough of them glued together so that they can have one action wobbler and wobble together without... and have enough support. So if I didn't glue them over on top of each other enough and they were barely hanging on, I don't think it would have worked. And then I'm putting glossy accents on their little noses and buttons where the little rocks would be, and making them shiny. All these little details, I think, are what bring our cards to life and just really take them to the next level. And I was struggling with those heart embellishments because it was still wet. The glossy accents was still wet. So here is at the end, I'm showing you that's the little shaker card. I overfilled it. You may have to do 2 layers of foam on that. Look at, isn't that cute? I just thought it was cute. And it says "You swept me off my feet." And if I'd taken the little heart and cut out the top there, I could have turned them into tags. But most likely I'll end up putting these on card bases, except for this one. Here's the shape card that I was talking about. And I'm going to show you this other card. Oh my gosh, I think it's hilarious. So if you get offended easily, you might want to click off now, but I don't think it's offensive. And I made this for someone because of a conversation we had. It says baseboards? WTF? And I put on an Action Wobbler. And there's Spectrum Noir sparkle on the hearts of the washer and dryer. I thought it was hilarious. So if you enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. I appreciate all of you. Leave any comments down below, questions you have, and I will respond back. And if you want more coloring or more real-time card making, let me know. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.